Let's get him in. Now here's a real man, leader of men, Zim Whodey.
Hang on 1 second. Here we go.
Here he is. Let's start. First of all, my man, did you have a Merry Christmas? And are you back on Twitter?
I had a Merry Christmas, but I am not back on Twitter. You know what's so wild about that? I was looking at some of my old digs and stuff this morning. Like I had a nice little folder where I just eviscerated like all of these people, and I was just like, man, those were the good old days. Just getting online and just cooking up a whole fan base, and having them cry about how Joe Burrow, he has all these weapons and just killing every single narrative. I did truly enjoy that, but I did have an awesome Christmas. My son was running around the house doing laser tags and all types of wild stuff. It was a good day. How about yours? How was your Christmas, Tom?
Great, thank God. Great Christmas. Everybody, a roof over our heads, food and shelter from this brutal cold. Is it as cold where you are as it is here? It has been just unbelievable how cold it is here.
Man, it's so cold. In my house, I looked at the thermostat and it was like 60-something degrees. I like to keep it around 69-ish. 69 is a great number, but I keep it around that area. And I thought the heat was broken or something like that, bro. I was panicking. I was like, well, I can't have people come over here and they're like, why is your house like freezing? I don't know if I had knocked some ice off or something or whatever outside, and I was shoveling a little bit, shoveling around, like getting ice off. I don't have snow out here, but bro, it's brutal. Like, what was that? Saturday or Friday? Bro, it was like 10 degrees, like 9 degrees, and it felt like 1. It was crazy here, so.
Well,
yesterday was a little bit warmer.
You ain't in the same league with us. What are you doing with the koi, by the way? Before we get into the Bengals, what's the deal with them out there? Because, you're out there a woodsy man, as we talked about before, and you're taking care of those koi out in the pond. What are you doing to keep them, safe right now?
So, crazy story. You have to set up aerators around your pond to make sure that they get the proper oxygen and the top level doesn't freeze over. Take the filters out the ground. So my son helped me with that a little bit. It's a long, grueling process. It took me about like an hour and a half or so. You get that out the way. I went somewhere. I came back. I was like, oh, crap. The pond froze over and, they can't breathe. So I'm outside breaking this stuff, breaking ice off the top. Had to go Amazon next day, deliver a new set of aerators because the ones I had all froze. Like they get, I don't know how to clean them out good, but like the tubing gets messed up. But I put a brand new aeration kit in there to get the bubbles like circulating at the top. The fish are in good, they're in good standing there, all at the bottom, just hibernating and stuff. But it is kind of scary, especially like when I go out of town or something and it snows. I'm always like, oh God, like I'm like looking on the camera, like, oh man, I hope they all right. So. That is a little spooky. My hands, bro, I came back. I was outside breaking ice, trying to get whatever because the ice gets real thick. I came back and my wife was like, what happened here? I thought I had like frost did damage to my fingers.
Yeah.
Because my hands were like purple looking like, but I put I wrapped them around like a heat warmer or something like that and got them right.
Zim, you got a Reds cap on there in Bengal colors. Is that what that is?
It's a unique hat, right?
It is. You selling that still? Is that marked down on ZimWhodey.com right now?
No, it's actually a guy named Kent. He sells these. He's got some unique, stuff for, like casual baseball fan. I don't know nothing. I know baseball, but I don't know baseball.
Okay.
Super casual. I just, if you really look at the C, though, it's not really like a red C, I think, for like a copyright type of thing.
Right.
It's more like a bear C, right? But,
yeah,
you look at it real quick. You're like, oh, he's got a, so.
Okay, because some of our folks on the chat want to know what the deal is on that. All right, listen. I want to get into with you, much like Casey is here. Well, first of all, before we get, a lot of people are asking about your shirt. Now, that's a big-time shirt. What does that say? No Jamar Chase slander will be tolerated. He fumbled the ball the other day. What do you got to say about that, Zim?
I mean, it's Jamar Chase, man. Like, he can't do no wrong, bro. Like, you gotta, Tom, you gotta go back and look. I did a famous thing on YouTube. You will love it. It's a great part of Bengals time capsule. It's called the Civil War. Me and my partner Ace Boogie, we started it up. I wish I knew you there. You would have been so perfect for it. But we had all these guys on there, and we a lot of big names on there. Just battled Jamar Chase, and I was the captain of the Jamar Chase one. And then after that, my guy at LFG Cincy, where you can get this shirt, LFG Cincy. They're located in Cincinnati. They actually print all of my stuff too. Shout out to Cam and them. But they made this shirt. I wore this one time. I was going to a Bengals game or something. And they actually upgraded me to first class. And I remember. Oh, and I wore this to the AFC Championship game, and we won. I haven't gone back to a game with it, but it's one of my favorite sweaters. It's super warm, but you can go to LFG Cincy and get it. But I don't get that much slander from Jamar Chase. But early on, they did not like me, bro. At the very beginning, they were like, "You can't be serious." I mean, your quarterback got his leg tore. I mean, there's people still like that to this day. You know, like there's some psychos out there, but Jamar Chase is that guy. I actually put that clip on my Winston Pod Twitter where Jamar Chase does fumble, but man, if Judon doesn't reach his hand out there and strip that ball, he could be gone. Like that's, I know I get called a homer sometimes, but
you do,
bro. He had a lot of green in front of him. I'm gonna tell you that's a minimum 40-yard like pickup right there.
All right, tell me, Zim, we've been sitting here talking today, okay, and like you said, you do border on homer, although I give you credit. When things don't go well, you're the first guy that will point it out, okay? But you look over the last two games, and at the end of the day in the National Football League, and this is as cliche as it gets, a win is a win. But they played over the last two games, they played an entire game, so, 30 minutes in one half, 30 minutes of another half, where they scored almost 60 points. Over those same two games, they played 30 minutes of one half, 30 minutes of another, where they scored 3 and they can't get out of their own way. Are you at all, be honest now, Zim, a little worried about the lack of consistency from this offense the last couple of weeks? Yay or nay?
No, I am not worried. I know we'll probably get into the Lyle situation. There is a cause for concern, but if you look around the league, look at the Chiefs, like you used one of my favorite words, consistency. The Bengals consistently just went undefeated in November and December. They're the hottest team in football. So if we're looking at it through a fine-tooth comb, that's fine with me. I have no problem doing that. But you also got to look at, like, a win is a win in this sense. Last week when the Chiefs narrowly escaped the Texans in overtime, a win was a win. The Bengals were told that they had the hardest schedule. The last 7 games were brutal. Then after we win, everybody's making it seem like, to me, like, oh, I mean, like they should have did this and they should have did it. But if you're saying that the level of competition is now risen, then I would think like the second half adjustments of Bill Belichick, they start to come into play. In the second half adjustments of a lot of these different games too, they come into play. But, I think the game plan in the second one, it's one of those things where I thought they got a little pass happy, in my opinion. Then you're now trying to work without Lyle Collins on the line, and now Adeniji out there, and he looked pretty decent. He gave up 5 pressures, and I think he battles a lot with bull rushes and power, and so he's going to get really tested with that with the Buffalo Bills with Gregory Rousseau on them. But I will say that for the most part, I think you're losing more in the run game. And I thought that kind of showed in the second half, where I thought we had a chance to ice it and they weren't. And then because of the stream of events that happened, it was like super risky to throw the football at that time and be able to stop the clock. So then if you're not running the ball consistently or effectively, then you're in a bind there, because if you throw the ball, you jeopardize putting it in harm's way. But the one catalyst to everything, to me, that everybody is not really paying attention to me is the defense. It's not far-fetched, or it's not crazy talk to say that the defense might be better than the offense like the last 4 or 5. I mean, outside of the Panthers game, the offense looked amazing, but the defense was insane in that game. And I think people kind of get away from that. And every time there's a big play to be made, it's not a bend, don't break. Like, I hate when people say that. It's not that. It's when they need a big play, they rise to the occasion. And we've been seeing it all of last year. Is that sustainable? I don't think so against the better teams. But you look at the teams like when the Bills played the Lions on Thanksgiving, they were, they didn't look that good.
No.
Then they come back, the Jets, Josh Allen throws for 140 yards, and they narrowly escape out of there with the Jets. Then they come back this past week. Josh Allen fumbles at the goal line, makes a bunch of mistakes, and then let's talk about the Bears. They're the 29th ranked defense, pass defense in the NFL. The Bills, this juggernaut offense should look amazing, right? They didn't, and then they piled on a bunch of garbage time stuff late in that game, like 6-7 minutes left. So the consistencies and everything like that, it kind of goes hand in hand with everybody. But I go back to the original part of my flow of stream of information is that the level of competition has risen. So then you got Judon, Uches, and probably this is a top 5 defense that you played. They're going to make big plays on their end too. And I just thought that, even in the Chiefs game, they left like 11 points on the board. And those are things you can't do in the playoffs. But I will say that when the plays are there to be made, they do make the big plays, the biggest ones that count. And that's championship caliber football.
No doubt about it. Now, let me ask you this. There's been a lot of talk on our chat and in and around Cincinnati, okay? We know Collins is now done, sadly, and certainly our thoughts are with that young man. He's still a very young man. I mean, he's got a bright future in this league, and he should be able to come back from this injury. And the way they're coming back these days, he should be able to come back before next season. Whether that's with the Bengals or not remains to be seen. But would you consider having Andrew Whitworth come back here, come out of retirement, to play right tackle for the Bengals the rest of this season? If you were Mike Brown, would you pick up the phone and make that call to find out if he's interested? Or is that insanity?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. He did right. If you got his number, I'll call him right. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I don't even have an analogy. Yeah, somebody in the comments was like, well, doesn't he play left tackle? I said, yeah, but he's a walking gold jacket. What are we talking about here? Like, hell yeah. And I put on, check me out on Twitter, Cincinnati Pod. I put this out. He was on Pardon. I don't want to mess up the name. I think it's Pardon the Take. Does Casey know?
Yep.
What's the name of that show he was on? Pardon My Take. He was on there 4 days ago, and he said after December 29th, his obligation to Amazon. So if y'all go to Cincinnati Pod, I reposted the video. But he said that, he enjoys being at home. He would entertain the idea. Today, go on Twitter, go look at his likes. Someone said Andrew Whitworth to the Bengals, and he liked the comment on his Twitter. So there's 2 different streams of thought. One is super insane. But Eric Weddle did do that last year for the Rams in the same breath, right? He literally did this same part, came back the last month, got a ring, got up out of there. There's a lot of stuff that they probably need to clean up with the Whitworth thing that I probably think that he doesn't like, but I know that his family and stuff, they really do like the Bengals and they do like Cincinnati and it's well documented. And I just think that if I'm him, I could sell it to my fam like, hey, just let me do this for a month. I know that I could get a championship with these guys. Let's just go at it. And the point I was going to make, he said it's one record that he wanted, and it's one that Jeff Saturday has. And he said if he just plays one more game, he can get that record. And it is really crazy. So it is crazy. And I don't think it happens. I think it's less likely to happen. I think that the Rams let you get him for dirt cheap because they just like Andrew Whitworth. I think they just do us a solid just to make it like a real thing on, whatever they give up, but, Mike Brown and them, they had to give up like a 7 because contractually he's still under terms with the Rams, I believe. Somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, but there has to be some kind of transaction to make it happen. And I think that would have to be like a 7-round pick or something because they can't just slice them. Yeah, I don't know how that will work.
Yeah, I don't know how
really
that works.
crazy.
That's a very good question and a very good point you make there because, contractually maybe there is something there. And, you look, the Rams aren't going to stand in his way. I mean, he helped bring that team a Super Bowl title. There's no way on God's earth that, I don't know about Kroenke. Some people like him. A lot of people don't. But, you get into their front office and that kind of thing, and there's no way they would stand in his way if the Bengals are thinking about it. And I'm going to start searching around after this show is over to find out from some sources of mine if this is something they actually are thinking about.
I got a guy I could call. I got a couple guys. I'm going to ask them.
I'm surprised, Zim, cat like you hadn't been on that already today. I mean, you're all over it with Cincinnati, you and Ace Boogie.
Man, it's my account, man.
What's the deal on that, by the way? What's the deal? I mean, have you heard anything from the people at Twitter? This is going on now, 2 weeks now? I mean, come on.
Yeah, we're on week 2. They still say freeze them and stuff, but I'm gonna tell you, followers isn't something that I really cared about, But I will say this: my reach is not as extended as it used to be.
Yeah, you're right.
Where I could say certain things and I know that it would take off like wildfire. Now I did post that Whitworth thing and I noticed that a lot of people, it was probably like 500,000 people. Had that been under my main account, you probably could have got an interaction from Whitworth. And that's the thing that I know, that's kind of killing me. It would give me a lot of interactions with higher up people or, more famous people or whatever. So I do miss that portion of it. I'm still the same guy. I don't have pep talks and stuff because I want to keep it, concentrated to my pod for the most part. But man, that's the only part that sucks. I wish I had it because I just think I could help get enough eyes on a lot of different stuff. And that's why I always looked at it like it was our account. I never really, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't showing pictures of myself.
I know, Zim. Everybody that is tuned into this show, and we're doing bigger numbers by the day, everybody is begging Elon Musk, even though he's stepping down as Twitter CEO apparently after just buying it, to free Zim Whodey. That's all we're asking. Just free Zim Whodey and let the man get back to work.
Man, if we could get this thing back before a playoff run, oh my God, I'm going to be insane on there. I got to get it back. I talked to one of my partners, though. He had the same set of circumstances. He got his back in 3-4 weeks. But all the whole Elon's, the whole Elon stuff is just so convoluted. You don't really know what's going on. I will text somebody in the front office, though, today and ask them, is it a real thing? And then I'm going to text you. All right. And I'm going to tell you what I think.
But I'm going to let you come on to break that story. So even if we have to have you back on tomorrow or whenever it is, we will let Zim Whodey break that story. All right, my man. We'll talk to you later in the week, if not within the next 24 to 48 hours. We're thinking about you. We're glad you had a Merry Christmas, you and your bride and your son. And have a great rest of your day today, my man. Thanks for the time.
Appreciate you as always, man. Merry Christmas. In case I don't talk to you guys, have a happy New Year.
Oh, we're going to talk to you, Zim, before the Buffalo game. So,
all right, let's
happy
talk.
New Year.
Because we got a lot to unpack with those
Yes, we
Buffies.
do. We got a lot to unpack. No doubt. All right, Zim, have a good one.
All right.
As we go to break, we only have 3 words. Free Zim Whodey. Give me liberty or give me death. As Patrick Henry once said, free Zim Whodey.